Alright guys, I thought I'd make a video about community gardening. Now, a lot of times the videos I do, I'm warning you of things that I see, human nature not coming together, loose lips, sinking ships, stuff like that. But, on the more positive side, there are things you can still do without letting everybody know what you do and where to find supplies in an emergency. Because only 1% of, 1 or 2% of the population are preppers, well then, odds are most people around you are not going to have anything around and they'll be looking for your stuff. But, what can you do to minimize this? What can you do to pull together? And a simple answer, one simple answer, there's no right answer, but every little bit helps, would be a community garden. Now, bear with me here because there's a bit to it. I'm going to leave a link in the description bar if you want to try this. It'll give you some good tips on how to start. Right, but talk to your neighbors. Put a sign on the telephone pole, right, and see who'd be with you. There's a lot to this. You see, first off, gardening is hard. Those of you who know or have tried, you know it's not easy to do, right? I don't have much of a green thumb. I'm learning, right? My brother can do a lot better than I can, but I'm learning. Gardening is not something you're taught. It's something you have to learn, right? But you can learn from others. That's a very important skill to have, and it may become necessary. You never know. Not only would you be learning a valuable skill, but it would bring your community together, right? Through hard work. It'd make it interesting and fun. And that's something to think about. You're bringing the community together before anything happens, right? Odds are most of your neighbors are strangers right now. But that gives you a way to get to know them. Get to know who they really are. Get to know their politics, like I said before. That's a very big one. The way they think, their mindset. That gives you a way to win there. Of course, you wouldn't want to go broke. I've seen lots of photos, and I've seen gardens where they use just old people bring in old plywood and stuff they have, and do earth boxes. People use old tires and recycle them into just pots. I guess they just stack them up, and there you go. Plant stuff inside them. You don't want to spend a lot of money doing this, of course. That takes away from your preps, but you can make it interesting and still cheap at the same time. Using old tires, using old buckets. Teach them how to make global buckets. I made a video about that. Using old plywood laying around. You and the other neighbors and whoever would join you could do that. You have old gardening stuff, use that, right? Stuff that's just laying around, so if you don't use anymore, there you go. And you could also teach them, to make global buckets at home. Those things, from what I see so far, they work very well. Teach them to window garden, right? You can also reduce waste by composting. I mean, eggshells, coffee grinds, bread, vegetables, unfinished vegetables, anything, basically except for meat and dairy. And there you go. That would reduce waste. You could recycle stuff that would wind up in a landfill. You'd produce food. And that's something very important, especially, for your health. I mean, vegetables, that's going to get you, especially kids, get them into it. They're going to be more likely to eat stuff, try all kinds of stuff, if they actually grow it and take part of it, right? So it'd be good for the kids, it'd be good for the community. You'd be recycling stuff that went up in the landfill. You could reduce trash by, by composting and bringing people together before something happens. That way, you know them to some extent at least, instead of just strangers that they would look to, in a panic. Again, don't tell everybody what you do, but if you learn they do, then work together. If not, well, then I keep kind of quiet about it. Don't tell them you have, hey, I'm a prepper, I've got this and that. No, don't say that, but, that would help out the community. And, I mean, there'd be a supply of food and a sense of community there. And I do a couple different videos on different things you can do. Not one of these things would do it all, but you know, they'll add up. You do them together, that'll really help you out. Anyway, that's it for this one. I do a couple different ones, and hopefully you'll catch the next. Okay, so I wanted to make another video about bringing your community together. Now, again, as I state, and I'll state again and again, not any one of these things is going to help you. Overall, they will. One of the problems we have nowadays is nobody really knows their neighbors. So, in an SHTF, you're surrounded by strangers. Back in the day, well, neighbors pulled together, right? Like during the Depression, people were losing their homes, and the neighbors would band together and bid low so that they could, their neighbors could buy their homes back. They would share what little bit they had. You know, in poorer countries, I mean, you can go to your neighbor and ask them for a little bit of food, you know, something simple, and they'll take care of you. They don't have much, but they'll share. Here, So, like I recommended, you know, trying to get to know people around you, building a sense of community. I recommend that you try to start a community garden. That'd be one thing to do. Using old waste and all, you know, just stuff that go to a landfill and stuff you have laying around in your yard, probably, or in your closet, old gardening equipment, you know. That would help feed people, which will keep them from going, you know, crazy later. But other ways, I mean, you know, food draws people together. So, assuming you are successful in that community garden, you could always use some of those vegetables that you grow, and you know, just grill out together, man. Throw a big old barbecue. You and some of the neighbors around you, right? Say you grow in some veggies and stuff. Well, make some kebabs. Grill that up. If you're a hunter, you know, hey man, you hunt wild boar, you hunt venison. You know, that'd be something to get people kind of used to eating. You never know. I don't think that you're going to be able to hunt all kinds of game. I mean, if you look at the numbers, I know there's people. There was one idiot that was telling me that, you know, there was no problem in the 1920s with the deer population, even though there was a depression. But the problem is, well, you know, the depression started, in the 1920s. The last 3 months of the 1920s, right? 1929 is when everything fell in October. So, you know, 3 months worth of the entire decade doesn't really qualify. But if you look at things now, you've got more people and less wooded area, less deer. Well, guess what's going to happen to that population of game out there really quickly? And people are going to hunt them whether they know how to process them or not, man. Whether they know how to, you know, keep the meat from spoiling, preserve it, whether they know, you know, not puncture the bladder and contaminate them. I mean, they're just going to go and shoot the things, right? But anyway, that'd be one way to kind of get them used to it. That'd be similar to what you'd probably be doing. You know, be pretty interesting. You know, you got stuff in the freezer that you got to get rid of. You know, rotate things out or something. Well, there you go. Some veggies and some stuff from the freezer, or you know, some. If you're a hunter, you know, you want to do something different. You know, some boar, some wild boar kebabs, some venison kebabs or something. I don't know. But getting to know people like that, that's always a fun way to go about it. Sharing a brewski with the neighbors, you know, chit-chatting a little bit. And, you know, even if you're not successful in that community garden, well, that's fine. You can try to do this anyway. Grilling out, drinking beer, that's always a good way to get to know people, man. And if you are successful in those two, well, then you're that much more ahead. But like I said, every little bit, man. You know, don't tell them what you do. Only 1 or 2% of the population are preppers out there. So, you know, loose lips sink ships. But getting to know people would be a very good thing to do ahead of time, right? If there's some shit at the fan scenario, you've got looters or something like that. You look at some of these countries, you know, Middle Eastern countries or like South American countries where there's like neighborhood watches or something like that. They'll block off the neighborhood, have checkpoints or something. You know, you drive up, they look inside, and they recognize you, they let you go through. I mean, things get pretty bad sometimes. It'd be nice to know your neighbors ahead of time. If things got that bad, you could set something up like that. And again, I mean, if you guys are hunters, man, and that's pretty cool. You go out there and get people to try new meats. If they're interested in guns, you know, you can teach them to take them to the range, teach them to shoot and respect the firearm, get them to respect their gun rights and know their rights. You know, hell, maybe they may get on board and buy firearms themselves, right? And become hunters themselves. You never know. But anyway, just certain things you can do, step by step, man. You know, that's how you go up a flight of stairs, man. One step at a time. You get all the way to the top. Alright, so I wanted to make a video about, you know, another video about getting to know your neighbors, building a sense of community. So, as I said in the other videos, now any one thing will do it. It'd have to be in steps. But every little step you do, every little step you take, is gonna make sure you're better off at the end, probably. Right? Nothing's for sure, but I would damn well think that if you know the people around you, you're going to be more likely to be able to work with them if something bad happens. Again, you know, nowadays people don't really know their neighbors. And that's a problem. Back in the day, people knew each other, they pulled together, they stand together and help each other out. Nowadays, you know, you probably don't know your neighbors. Or maybe the guy right next to you, or the guy right across the street, but that's probably it. You move so much, and you never know. But let's say you want to take a step in building a community. Well, you could also start a neighborhood watch. Like I said, if you did the other things, let's say you tried to start a community garden. You know, maybe you succeeded, maybe you didn't. If you did, you're better off, of course. Let's say that, like I suggested, you try to throw barbecues here and there and get to know the neighbors, you know. If you did succeed in that community garden, well, then you'd have fresh vegetables that, you know, you guys could get together and grill up, make kebabs and stuff. You know, you guys that are hunters, make some venison and boar kebabs, I guess, with the veggies you grew, and, you know, get people to kind of get used to stuff like that. Or just, you know, hey, you got to rotate things out. Let's say you got something in the freezer. You got, you know, something you're going to take down, you know, like, hey, you know what, let me go ahead and use this. Make kebabs or something out of that. You know, just to get to know people. Because food, beer, that brings people together. It always has, and I'm sure it always will. Well, what can you do now? You can probably start, you know, getting in shape with them. Physical fitness is going to be pretty damn important when shit hits the fan. I've seen videos where, you know, there'll be guys with bug out bags, you know, 60, 70-pound bug out bags, like, oh, you know, and they're pretty big guys, you know. And, I mean, how do I put it? You know they're not going to be able to physically do it. You listen to them say, well, you know, the military has these bags, they run around with 80-pound bags, so I can do it too, I'll do what I have to. Yeah, no, man, those guys train every day, right? They're conditioned, they're fit, they can do that, right? They train constantly. They're not, you know, really big guys that obviously don't do cardio. You're going to have a heart attack, you're going to have a stroke, you know, in the sun, in the heat, or die of dehydration if you just all of a sudden, you know what, let me try to take this and hike with this big old bag. And you better plan on walking because, you know, vehicles are going to break down or run out of fuel or something. So at one point or another, you'll probably be on foot if you're making long distance traveling, you know, to get somewhere or something, I don't know. So you better be able to carry most of it on your back. And that's just the way it is, man. You can be a mechanic, but, you know, there'll be some things you can't fix without tools or replacement parts. and assume you don't have a truckload of parts with you, well then, you might run out of replacement parts or you'll not be able to fix it. So, be ready to be on foot. Now, what can you do? Like me, I used to love to running, man. I go, I jog at night. I don't see how some of these people do that shit in the sun, man. I guess in shit at the fan I would, but I hate doing that. Right? But I used to love to jog. And me and some of the neighbors around, we'd get together. There was a park not too far from here. And we'd get together and, and push each other. I mean, that's the way it works out. It's actually better as a team. Competition can be a good thing when you push each other. Right? And you keep pace with each other. You see the same people, out running, and, after a while, you talk to them, hey, this and that, passing by. And then after a while, you see the same people, hey, you guys feel like running to keep pace. I don't have it in me tonight. And, something like that. Oh, that's a great way to meet chicas, too. I mean, obviously it's not dark. But, in the evening or something. But physical fitness is a big one, man. And that's another way to get to know people. Right? That's always fun. I used to run quite a bit. And, yeah, you get to know people like that. It's fun. And, of course, you get in shape, which is going to be very important. And that's what you can do, right? You can put something on the, put a sign, a telephone pole, put a group together to go jogging or something like that around the neighborhood, For ladies, it'd probably be safe. I mean, it's going to be safer if you're going to run in the evening or, when it gets dark, run in groups. Of course, those of you, let's say there's some ladies out there, well, of course, maybe one of you are going to have a husband or a boyfriend or something's going to want to run with you. That it can start up like that, and you guys get together. Get to know people around you, run around the neighborhood or park that's pretty close by. Another way, getting to know people ahead of time. You can chit-chat, learn people's political views, learn their beliefs on stuff. You'll know who you want to associate with later and who you wouldn't, right? And that'd be something to think about. Anyway, like I said, none of these one things alone will do it. In steps, like I said before, you go up a flight of stairs, man, one step at a time, and then before you know it, you're all the way at the top. And if something goes down, the better you know the people around you, the better off you're going to be. But at the same time, man, don't tell them everything you do. Loose lips, sink ships. When you got like less than 2% of the population as preppers, odds are they're not. But you never know. You could maybe talk them into, putting a little bit aside just in case or something like that when there's some disaster, Yeah, I bought this big old bag of rice after this happened, or something like that. Just, you ain't gotta, don't have to know you have tons of it, but you can recommend stuff like that. Something to think about. Anyway, y'all have a good one. Hope this helps. Alright. I wanted to make another video about bringing your community together before shit hits the fan. Now, I've already done a couple videos, about starting a community garden. I left you links on how to do that to help you out. I've recommended, you get together, throw some barbecue, man. And let's say if you were successful in doing a community garden, you probably got some fresh veggies. For those of you that are probably hunters, you can go out there and defrost some venison you got frozen. Some boar, make some game and fresh veggie kebabs. Get people used to probably something different, something they might be eating later. It's interesting. I like eating all kinds of different animals, and I just like trying all kinds of stuff. But that's another thing you can do. Of course, I recommend getting in shape with them. Go running together. Just things you can do to get to know the neighbors and build a sense of community. Of course, now, building a community watch, a neighborhood watch. I'm going to leave a link in the description bar, and it'll help you get started. Take you through the steps and what you can do, and that'll help you out. First, see who's with you, how many people around are with you. If you put a sign on the telephone pole or something, do a couple times. Don't just have one meeting, Tuesday night, 7, and, you have just a few people turn out. Maybe people, have to work or something. You never know. Something's going on. Do it a couple times, right? Make sure you know everybody that's interested in that. I'll tell you, if you're able to do that, you and the others around you would just feel better, man. You'll sleep better at night. And let's say there was a shit at the fan scenario. You'd be better off having that set up ahead of time. Now, of course, it wouldn't be the same thing if it's really bad. You just pick up the phone and call the cops. But it'd be a start for, just basically a group to defend your neighborhood if need be. I'm not recommending you go out there and be a vigilante at all. But I'm saying it's better to have things in place in case things got bad, so you can defend yourself. Being a vigilante is one thing. Defending yourself is something else. Right? Let's say that you or somebody in the group, they're ex-military, or they have some martial arts training or something, or some sort of a defense, some sort of a self-defense training. Well, then they could train other people. You can get together. That's another way to get in shape. I was talking about getting in shape with the neighbors. That's one good thing you can do. Say there's somebody that doesn't believe, they don't want to have a firearm. That's fine. I believe in the Second Amendment big time, and but also I'm not going to force it on anybody else. If you don't want a firearm, you don't have to buy one. You'll benefit from the people around you that have one. You look at places where guns are really restricted, high crime rate, and places like here in Texas, low crime rate, because good guys have guns, not just the bad guys. So you'll benefit anyway. But let's say it'd be a good idea to learn how to defend yourself. You could, you or whoever could train other people, basic self-defense techniques. And, that make it safe for people who wouldn't want to go in there. Let's say somebody does attack somebody in the neighborhood, watch doesn't catch it, and, somebody's able to defend themselves. Well, that's good. If shit hit the fan, well, that's better. Yeah, somebody else around that area can put up a resistance against looters or whatever. You never know. For those of you who are hunters, or, you believe in the Second Amendment, well, you could recommend other people get their concealed carry. Now, again, this is not to be a vigilante. This is just, basically to get people to be, get them. You have to have training for your concealed carry, right? There's a target practice, and they teach stuff like that, so that they can use the weapon. They know how to break it down and maintain it, right? It's a tool, like anything else. You need to know how to use that tool. And I believe in the Second Amendment big time, like I said. And I want people, you can teach their gun rights. You can go to the range together. You can show them how to break it down, and just teach them to get their concealed carry and, protect their rights. But also, if there is a problem, well, then they know how to use that gun, and they know how to use that gun, right? You don't want some idiot going out there and firing wildly, at a target, because that bullet's going to hit something, right? So that's something else. You got a community watch. You would have people that would be able to defend themselves, right? Or be able to know how to use a firearm, which odds are they wouldn't have to use that gun. If some robber busts into your house and he has a knife or something, and you got a gun, he's out of there. Why risk it? Or let's say he had a gun. Is he going to open fire? Probably not. Because it's a 50% chance, he's going to get hit too. Rather than take the chance, get shot and killed, or get shot and need medical attention, and then go to prison, well then, he'd just leave. So that'd be another thing, right? And that'd be basically what you would need to set up some sort of defense team. Look at neighborhoods in like some parts of the Middle East or in Central America. When things get really bad, you know, the neighbors, the kids and stuff. Some of the kids and young adults and teenagers would have like checkpoints. You drive up and they want to see your face. They recognize you. You got in there. You got back in your neighborhood. If not, hey, you're not going in there. So, having a neighborhood watch could be the grounds for something like that. I'm not saying be a vigilante, but I'm saying learn how to defend yourself and have a sense of community behind you. So if there are looters and stuff like that, well then, those of you that would have concealed carry, well then you can just stand out there together with a show of force. You can see a firearm on you. If there's looters and stuff like that, you guys just stand there. Hey, look, you're not coming in here without getting hurt too. And the people that would not have a firearm, well, you've had some sort of self-defense training, or, I don't know, you could have something else. I mean, if it was that bad, you got guys with torches and bats and all that, well, then a guy that knows how to defend himself, or a woman knows how to defend themselves with martial arts training, has a baseball bat or two just to show of force, and the guy next to her has a, concealed carry, well, then odds are those looters are going to probably just go on down the neighborhood, go cause trouble somewhere else, but they'll leave you and your own alone. Right? So that's really what this boils down to. The last one would be an actual, defense team, I guess, if it was really bad. Where you just have people stand there like they did in those other countries, and, like you're not coming in this neighborhood if we don't recognize you, or if you're not with somebody that we know. I don't think it'd get that bad, but man, it'd be better to know your neighbors beforehand than after. Right? You get to know how their minds work, what's in their mind, their politics, what kind of people they are. Know who you'd want with you and know who you wouldn't. Again, don't tell everybody what you do. Less than 2% of the population are preppers. So they find out you have all kinds of stuff. If things really got bad, well then, you're going to be a target. But if they don't know, well then you stand together as a community. Right? Like I said, if you did the community garden, you've got some sort of food. If you are a hunter and you did some grilling or something like that, did kebabs and say wild boar and venison kebabs, well then the other guys that got firearms, if you went to the range together, hey, you know what, let's go see if we can hunt something down. And there you go. You never know. I don't think it'd be a Mad Max type scenario, but it'd be better to prepare ahead of time and know the people you got around with you than not. Alright? Anyway, like I said before, not just one of these things are going to do it. It has to be in steps. Again, going up a flight of stairs, man, one step at a time. Let's say you start with a community garden. Well, then you can feed people. You get together and you get to know each other a little bit. You're a hunter, or you have a bunch of stuff and you're rotating it out. You have an excuse to do some grilling out there. Some barbecue. Grilling is actually what it is, but you grill up some fresh veggies that you grew in the community garden, and maybe you hunted some boar and deer. Well, then there you go, a little bit of beer, food. That brings people together. You get a little bit closer together. Let's say you teach people, self-defense, or you just go running together. Well, then, physical fitness is really important. You get to know people a little bit better. Let's say you've started a community watch, right? You sleep better at night, get to know people a little bit better. All these things combined would help you a lot later if shit hit the fan. You'd be much better off being surrounded by friends and acquaintances than strangers. And that's the whole point. Anyway, alright guys, y'all think about that for a second. Okay, this will probably be the last video I do on, bringing your community together before shit hits the fan. I've done a couple, like I said. This one would be probably just getting the ground set for like a defense team. If things got really bad, like I said, in certain parts of the Middle East and in certain parts of South America, people, when things got bad, people would band together and have like community. They block off the neighborhood like a checkpoint or something, and they wouldn't let people in unless they recognized you or you were with somebody that they knew. Right? Obviously, if you were one guy they knew with 6 guys they didn't, you probably wouldn't get in there. But there's a family or something, there's a new face. Okay, they'd probably let you go through. But they didn't want strangers going in there because they had such a problem with looters and stuff. So that'd be the grounds. Right? Let's say you did everything I talked about. Then you're in pretty good shape, I'd imagine. You started a community garden. Right? That means you guys are growing food together. Right? You've gotten to know each other a little bit. It's fun. It's hard work, but it's fun. And it pays off. And growing food is a very important skill. And it's not something that you're going to be taught. It's something you got to learn. And it's something hard to learn. I know. I'm not that great, but I'm better than I was before, and I'll continue to get better at it. I'll grow just as I continue to grow stuff. Let's say that also you do a couple barbecues. You're out there grilling, some of the veggies you grew. Let's say you're a hunter. You've got some venison and wild boar. That's exotic game stuff that people might be kind of weird about, but stuff that they probably wind up eating later. Some people will want to try it out, along with, let's say you're rotating out stuff in the freezer. You can make some kebabs with that. Game kebabs and just roast in the freezer that you're rotating out. Well, then you've gotten to know people a little bit better. Food and beer, food and alcohol, man, that brings people together. You get to know people a little better. I've recommended you get in shape. Go running or something. I don't know. Run around the neighborhood, get together at a park or something. You got a lake or something. You get to know people. Physical fitness is really important, and you get to know people. Right? Also, like I said, if there's anybody that knows, it has any self-defense training, well, you could teach people that would want to know around you. Talked about building a community watch, start a community watch or neighborhood watch. Right? Teach people to defend themselves. That would keep the neighborhood closer together. And that would also be physical fitness. And that'd be one step towards a defense team. People that know how to defend themselves. Right? And the other thing, if you did the grilling, maybe you were a hunter or something, and hey, how do you like this? And somebody, I've always wanted to hunt. Well, you know what? I'm going to go, this next month or whatever, go take out some wild boar. You got a rifle? If they got a rifle, well, there you go. Yeah, they have a rifle now, and you take them with him. Take them with you. You go to the range, throw lead down range with the boys. That's always fun. And you get to know people. Teach them, make sure they know how to maintain their firearm. Teach them their Second Amendment rights. And there you go. There's people that you could probably hunting buddies, man. That's always cool. And they know how to use their firearms. You can go to the range together. And practice on your aim. Especially women. Women pick that up big time, really quick. Handgun, I don't know how they do it, but they learn it pretty fast. At first, when I first saw that, this friend of mine, she picked it up really quick, and I thought it was just beginner's luck. But I noticed that, wait a minute, whenever a woman comes down here, she's always, much better than the guy that comes down and can't even get paper first. So that was interesting with me, especially with handguns. I'm like, huh. So I used to think it was beginner's luck, but it can't be. All the women always having beginner's luck and the men don't. So they naturally pick that up. People that would be interested in that, teach them to get their concealed carry license. Because to get your concealed carry, you got to be able to hit targets. That's important. You pull that trigger, that bullet's going to hit something, right? You want people that know how to use that firearm, right? If you believe in the Second Amendment and know how to use a firearm, maintain it, right? All together, that'd be building your community, making it stronger. And then you could use that as a foundation. Let's say that there was some looters or something like that. Ferguson, people going around burning stuff, right? Let's say they started heading to your neighborhood. Well, show of force. Hey, look, you're not coming in here. You're not doing nothing, right? Let's say you've got some extra money, right? You could buy some mold, some Mosin Nagants and put them up, right? The people that you know around you, especially the neighbors right around you, and if you're cool with them and they're responsible and you know how to use a firearm, well then, if things got bad, your neighbor Joe or whatever, here, man, look, here, take this. This is how you use it. You can take one to the range a couple times, right? Let's say you have 5 or something. You buy 5. You put them in your basement or something. Keep them safe. You take one to the range every so often. They know how to use it. And then if something bad happens, take it to them. Hey, man, there's some bad stuff coming our way. I got another one of these. Take this. Well, there you go. And say you got a couple, there's somebody else well then, you know what, hey dude, there's bad people coming our way, here, take this. You got 5, you've armed 5 people around you pretty cheaply. Again, assuming you know that you can trust them, and assuming they knew how to use a firearm, right? They're not reckless with it. And then you'd also know who else has firearms. And, the people that didn't would have some sort of self-defense training. Y'all could stand together in front of the neighborhood like, look, you're not coming in here. Right? They say the police can't get there. Well, then you're on your own. I'm not saying be a vigilante, but I'm saying you can, have a show of force. Look, you're not coming back, coming in here. You can have people going around robbing and looting and raping and burning things down. Like, you can go down that way. You go down that way or go down that way, but you're not coming this way. People with firearms get show of force. You got concealed carry. You lift your coat and they can see you got a firearm. Other people, you got the Mosin or something. And the people that got self-defense training, well then, I don't know. You got people with bats and poles and stuff like that. Well, you could have a bat too. And maybe a bat on its own is not much, but when you're standing next to people with rifles and handguns and you got that bat, well then, that's another something to worry about. Then you are a threat. And they'll just leave you alone. It's better to build a community before shit hits the fan. Because afterwards, good luck. That ain't going to happen. Again, you're not going to be a vigilante. You're just going to have a show of force and defend yourself if need be. That's all. That's all. But you can't do that if you don't know people around you. You can't do it alone. Right? You can't do it alone. You can watch the Lone Wolf video if you want to. I talked about that. I'll leave links to these other videos. But that's one thing to do. Your community watch, you build on that. Some of y'all get self-defense training. If you find people that like to hunt, you're a hunter, take them with you. Teach them how to use that thing. For those of y'all that just, people that have handguns or rifles or something, go to the range together. Right? Make sure they know how to use that firearm, just in case. You never know. You want people around you that are gun savvy. Know how to use it. Know what to do if it jams. Keep it clean and maintained. And most importantly, know how to hit that target, which, if they get the concealed carry, well, that means they passed the test. Right? And then you got to keep your skills honed. Right? All that together would come in handy big time. Because if things get like they do in, the Middle East or South America, well then you can band together and do the same thing. And they weren't attacking people, they just would not let you in there. Like, look, you're not coming through here. They block off the street, strangers try to get in. You ain't from this neighborhood, you're not coming in. We're not going to let you. And that would be the most important thing of all. The best way to win a fight is not to be in it. Right? And a show of force, that usually does it. When a gun's pulled out, somebody's being attacked, or somebody get robbed, they pull a gun out. A lot of times, you can check out the study by John Lott there. A lot of times, they just decide, you know what, it's not worth it, I'm out of here. Unfortunately, they go find another victim, but the person that pulled that gun on them, they're not going to mess with them. that gun does all the talking. You don't have to shoot anybody. You just have to show them, hey, look, don't make. I got this, and I can put you down if I have to. Don't make me do it. And they'll leave. They don't want to get shot. They're not stupid. They may be criminals, but they're not stupid. Anyway, hope this helps. I'll leave a link to how to build a community garden in the description bar, and starting a neighborhood watch. And again, all these things would be the good foundation to build up your community, which would be very handy if shit hit the fan. Knowing people and being able to defend yourselves as a group. Anyway, hope this helps. There's been quite a few videos on this, but I thought I'd do it in segments. Some people won't be interested in some parts, and other people not in others. Anyway, I hope that helps, guys. Think about it, man, because you can't do it alone. Alright, anyway, that's it.